Today, each citizen of the developed countries produces between 1 and 2 kilograms of waste daily. The most recent solutions for treating these wastes are old-fashioned techniques, incineration and landfill. These costly solutions pose a number of risks because they are very polluting. As from 2015, the landfill taxes will multiply 4 times. Very quickly, communities will need to find new solutions for treating their waste. The innovative, non-polluting and efficient solution is Oxalor. With Oxalor, at last you have the choice. With the addition of a reactive, the patented Oxalor process is able to separate the organic from non-organic matter contained in domestic waste by dehydration and stabilization, enabling each to be treated and recycled separately. The volume of inert material sent to landfill is drastically reduced. The Oxalor process does not generate any nuisance or emission of CO2 into the atmosphere or discharge any effluents. Oxalor treats domestic and allied wastes, that is, wastes derived from households and sewage purification stations. However, that is not all there is to Oxalor. This process permits a diversity of applications. It treats just as well refuse from farms and farm produce industries, as well as complementing other technologies. For example, methanization and composting. Oxalor is capable of transforming and enhancing these wastes to produce alternative fuels. The method is flexible, simple, compact and fast. In 2.5 hours, the wastes are transformed into a byproduct, completely sterilized, stabilized and marketable. The organic matter becomes a soil amendment, able to be used by the agricultural industry to enrich the soil at little cost. The metals and plastic bottles are sent for recycling. The remainder, that is paper, cartons, plastics, textiles, is used to produce alternative fuels. In order to understand how this technology works, we're going to visit 2 factories. Mons in Belgium, a methanization factory owned by Itradec, and Lezay in Les Deux-Sèvres, France, owned by the Oxalor Group. The factory at Mons perfectly illustrates the qualities of Oxalor. It treats non-sorted domestic waste originating from the Walloon region. The collected wastes are tipped into a 6,000 cubic metre pit situated in an enclosed and depressurized area. The air inside the building is sucked out and filtered. From a command post overseeing the plant, an operator begins the processing cycle by feeding the waste to the Oxalor treatment line, using a hydraulic grab. The household wastes are conveyed to a large rotating mixer, patented by the Oxalor Group, specifically designed and equipped to open the dustbin bags. Inside, they are mixed with a natural reactive based on calcium oxide, Calox, a reformulated quicklime. Liquid from the waste, or just water, is introduced in order to kick-start the reaction. This mixture produces an exothermic reaction, which raises the temperature to between 75 and 90 degrees. This natural heat dehydrates the domestic waste and renders it hygienic. The reaction kills all germs living in the waste. This is the first phase of the process, dehydration. The waste contains 60% humidity. The reactive extracts the humidity from the waste and dehydrates it. This allows better separation afterwards. In order to complete the cycle, a second treatment phase is set in motion. The treated waste material is automatically conveyed to the next stage of the process, the thermoreactor, developed and patented by the Oxalor Group. During 1 hour 30 minutes, the continuation of the thermoreaction stabilizes the wastes so that all the pathogenic germs are eliminated. This second phase of the process is called hygienization. At this stage, the waste is dry and sanitized. It contains less than 20% humidity, enabling an easy and total separation. This outsorting is handled by a rotating sieve, called a trommel, that separates organic matter from inorganic matter. The treated organic material will be reintroduced into Itradex's methanization digester to produce a dry and hygienic product which can be used later as a cover for discharged waste. The other waste, called fluff, sufficiently dry, can be used as an alternative fuel for the local cement factory.
Alors, derrière moi,
now behind me is the material evacuated by the rotating sieve. As you see, the material is dry, clean, the plastic very white, the metal's very clean. If we wish, we can separate the metals by an electromagnetic arm to be recycled. Once dried, the plastics may be more easily crushed and afterwards used as an alternative fuel for incinerators or cement ovens. The collection of fine particles coming from the rotating sieve is called oxyom. This is a mixture of paper, organic and quicklime. As you will note, this material is dry and clean. In less than 3 hours, these wastes have become enhanced and viable products. Vincent Castro runs this factory with only 2 technicians. With one such installation, these 3 people can treat 60,000 tons of waste, serving a town of 150,000 inhabitants. The unit is 100% computerized, and all operations are managed and controlled from a command post using a simple-to-operate computer. This Belgian operation is therefore very keenly monitored, for it opens up the market to Oxalor to significantly improve the treatment of every mechanobiological plant. Now let us try to understand to what extent this process is efficient. Each sorted material is perfectly stabilized due to the exothermic reaction. Any steam or other vapours generated by the waste materials is sucked away and stored in the condensation and cleansing tank to be recycled. The condensation and cleansing tank allows the air to be cleansed by spraying it with water. This air contains ammonia and basic pH. One neutralizes it by adding acid. Once the pH is neutralized, the air is released into a large biofilter, which cleanses it for a second time and releases it into the atmosphere. Thanks to Oxalor, there is no emission of gas. We only release the air which has been neutralized and can be breathed by anyone. With Oxalor, at last you have the choice. Situated close to Lezay in the Deux-Sèvres, France, the Oxalor factory sits in the middle of the countryside. This factory primarily treats sludge from sewage purification stations. Everywhere is clean with no smells. The machines are robust. Some have been operating for more than 10 years. They are each an indispensable link in the Oxalor process, a patented process. Responsible for retreating sludge from the sewage purification plants of Niort and Angoulême, the site appears very modest. A showcase set up to demonstrate the efficiency of the process, its capacity is to treat 15 tons a day, producing little more than 3,000 tons of the soil enrichment oxyob per annum. Testimony as to the agricultural value, Franck Blay is a farmer who has been using oxyob for 2 years. I spread the Oxalor product oxyob because we are in a zone where the soil is acidic or very acidic, and one has many problems with the soil structure, and calcium is very helpful. With the increased costs of raw materials, including lime, fertilizer, etc., it has helped me on the one hand to make savings, and on the other to structure the soil with sufficient calcium, which I was unable to do before for financial reasons. I have been spreading Oxiob on this piece of land for over 2 years. It was applied at the beginning of August, and in December I took a measurement which showed me to which level we can improve the pH, unit of measure of the acidity in the soil. Already with Oxiob, we've almost reached a pH close to neutral, 6.9, rather than the natural pH, 4.5. When we bring regularly every 2 to 3 years 1 ton of lime, we reach a level of 5.5 to 5.8. For plant growth, the closer we get to neutral, the better it is. Above all, there are no particular constraints, since it has been approved by the French Ministry of Agriculture. The issue of heavy metals does not pose any problem, since some industrial fertilizers contain much more heavy metal than the Oxalor process. Oxiob has been ratified by the French Ministry of Agriculture. These approvals are vital because they guarantee that the product keeps its promises. Ratification has been obtained for every factory which has been opened by Oxalor. Laura Metzger is in charge of CRIT, Regional Centre for Innovation and Technology. She has been involved with the Oxalor Group with the compilation of technical documents and with requests for ratification, and keeps a regular check, both scientifically and technologically. For the customer, there is a guarantee that the product has been scrutinized very thoroughly, so that all the risks have been assessed and reassessed, because when one is dealing with the evaluation by scientific experts, which takes several months, they will look at it with a magnifying glass and will demand a great deal of proof in order to justify the harmlessness, efficiency and constancy of the composition. From past experience, when working with waste coming from other sources and other communities with equivalent facilities, we were able to say that there was a production constancy. From the moment we started to prepare documents for ratification for similar products from different sites, one can say that we began to have scientific and technical references upon which we could base our requests to the administrator to create a standard or new designation for a new type of product within an existing standard, which would enable new production sites to market their products quoting the standard in question. What particularly touched me is that the Oxalor Group is dedicated to treating waste and making it into something of value for agricultural land and for the agriculturalists. Because to dig a big hole into which one puts waste which otherwise could be used for some other useful purpose, I believe is nonsense. Today, with a sustainable development perspective, it seems absurd to me to put everything into a big hole. In order to meet the criteria set by the European Directive, waste should be recycled and, if necessary, be stabilised prior to landfill, thereby eliminating its danger to the population and environment. For more than 10 years, Oxalor has respected these principles. Its expertise has enabled the company to formulate a unique, innovative and high-performance solution having a number of distinct advantages. Respect for the environment, no nuisance, no emissions into the atmosphere, and no discharge of effluent liquids. Low installation, maintenance and running costs. Simple and fast treatment in 2.5 hours. Maximum valorization of the waste. Stabilization and hygienization of the waste. The ratifications of Oxiom and Oxiob for the users of fertilizers. Like all the communities and institutions in France and internationally who have already been convinced by Oxalor, likewise those international exhibitions who have recognized its qualities, take care of your environment. At last you do have a choice.